Sitting outside the hotel, with tears streaming down her cheeks, Maureen couldn't believe the sweet and kind man she married 2 years ago has turned out to be a monster who treated her like trash. Maureen was the only child of Chief Okonkwo, a wealthy businessman. At 25, Maureen was big-bodied, shy, and full of love for everyone around her. Her father often said, "You are my princess. One day, you will take over my company." When her father passed away, Maureen became the owner of his business empire. She wasn't sure how to run it, but her father's personal assistant, JJ, offered to help her. He was charming and seemed to care for her. "You don't have to worry, Maureen. I'll help you," he said one day with a kind smile. Over time, JJ became closer to Maureen. One day he proposed, "Maureen, I love you. Will you marry me?" Overjoyed, Maureen said yes. She believed she had found someone who loved her for who she was. The wedding was grand, and Maureen felt like the luckiest woman in the world. But 6 months after the wedding, JJ began to change. "Maureen, you're too fat," he told her one evening. "You need to lose weight. People laugh at you." His words hurt her deeply, but she stayed silent. She loved him and didn't want to fight. JJ soon took full control of the company. "Let me handle the business," he said. "You don't know much about it." Maureen trusted him, but she noticed the company wasn't doing well. When she asked about it, JJ snapped, "Stop asking silly questions. Just stay at home." Maureen felt useless and unimportant. One afternoon, Maureen found an envelope on the dining table. Inside were divorce papers. Her hands shook as she read the words. When JJ came home that night, she confronted him. "JJ, what is this? Why do you want a divorce?" She cried. "I'm tired, Maureen. You're too fat. Who wants an elephant for a wife?" he said coldly. JJ packed his things and left, leaving Maureen heartbroken. The next day, Maureen decided to visit her father's company. When she arrived, the gates were locked. A security guard told her, "Madam, the company is closed. JJ sold everything." "What?" Maureen exclaimed. She couldn't believe it. "I heard JJ opened a new company," he added. "They're launching it today at Echo Hotel." Maureen's heart broke even more. JJ had betrayed her, and now he was celebrating his new company. That evening, Maureen went to Echo Hotel. The hall was filled with people. She spotted JJ on stage, laughing and holding a glass of champagne. Beside him was Tina, her best friend. JJ suddenly took Tina's hand. "Tina, will you marry me?" he said loudly. The crowd cheered as Tina smiled and said, "Yes." Maureen couldn't take it anymore. She stepped forward and shouted, "JJ, how could you do this to me?" JJ turned, shocked to see her. But instead of answering, he smirked and walked towards her. "You're embarrassing yourself," he said. "You stole my father's company." Maureen shouted, "And now, you're with my best friend." JJ laughed. "Your father's company? You mean the one you were too fat to manage?" Before Maureen could reply, JJ slapped her across the face. The crowd gasped. "Security!" he shouted. "Take this whale out of here." Tears streamed down Maureen's face as the guards dragged her out of the hall. Sitting outside the hotel, Maureen wiped her tears. She thought about her father's words, "You are my princess. I will not let this defeat me," she said to herself. "You will pay for this, JJ," she whispered to herself as Maureen sat outside the hotel, wiping her tears after being humiliated. A familiar voice called out, "Maureen, is that you?" She looked up to see Bobby, her childhood friend. He had been invited to the event as a guest. Bobby was now a billionaire and a successful businessman, but he still recognized Maureen instantly. "Bobby," Maureen said, surprised. "Yes, it's me. What happened? You look so upset," Bobby asked, concerned. Maureen broke down and explained everything: her marriage to JJ, the betrayal, and the humiliation she had just faced. Bobby listened quietly. You shouldn't go home in the state, Bobby said after a moment. Let me take you to my place. Too heartbroken to argue, Maureen nodded. Bobby's mansion was grand, but it felt warm and welcoming. He led Maureen to the living room and made her a cup of tea. Do you remember how we used to climb mango trees as kids? Bobby asked, trying to lighten the mood. Maureen managed a small smile. Yes, and you always got scared of the bees, she replied. They talked about their childhood, and Bobby tried his best to cheer her up. You're stronger than this, Maureen. Don't let JJ's actions define you, he said gently. That night, Maureen slept in the guest room, feeling a small sense of comfort for the first time in months. The next day, Maureen returned to her house, hoping to sort things out. To her shock, she found the gates locked and her belongings scattered outside. A neighbor informed her that JJ had sold the house. Heartbroken and with nowhere else to go, Maureen gathered her things and returned to Bobby's house. When Maureen arrived at Bobby's house, she was overwhelmed with emotion. She couldn't stop crying, and to cope, she started searching for food. She opened cupboards, the fridge, and even drawers, looking for anything to eat. Bobby found her in the kitchen holding a packet of herbal concoctions. What's this? Maureen asked, sniffling. Bobby smiled. That's a special concoction my mom used to drink. She used to be a chubby woman, but this, combined with her diet plan, helped her lose a lot of weight. Maureen looked at the concoction thoughtfully. Do you think it could help me? She asked. It helped my mom. I'm sure it will help you. If you combine it with a healthy diet, Bobby said. I'll do it, Maureen said firmly. From that moment, Maureen decided to change her life. She started taking the concoction, followed the diet plan, and with Bobby's encouragement, began her journey to rebuild her confidence and regain control of her life. Months passed, and Maureen worked hard to transform herself. She followed Bobby's diet plan, took the herbal tea religiously, and exercised daily. Slowly but surely, she began to lose weight. One morning, as Maureen looked in the mirror, she couldn't believe what she saw. The woman staring back at her was slim, beautiful, and confident. She smiled for the first time in a long time. Maureen, you look amazing, Bobby said proudly. Thank you, Bobby, Maureen replied. I feel like a new person. Bobby had an upcoming business event and decided to take Maureen along. Lots of business tycoon will be attending, including Maureen's ex-husband, JJ. Yes, I think it's time to teach that JJ a lesson. But you will have to introduce me as your sister, Maureen said. Bobby replied with a wink. He wanted to help Maureen get her revenge on JJ. The event was grand, filled with powerful business tycoons from all over the country. Bobby and Maureen arrived together, and heads turned as Maureen walked in wearing a sleek, elegant dress. She looked stunning, her confidence shining through. As they mingled, Maureen's eyes landed on someone she recognized. Immediately, JJ. He was standing in a corner, talking to a group of people. JJ's eyes soon caught Maureen, and he froze. She was breathtaking, but he didn't recognize her. Bobby, who's the beautiful lady with you? JJ asked, walking over. This is Megan, Bobby said, smiling. She's my sister. She just returned from studying abroad. JJ couldn't take his eyes off her. It's a pleasure to meet you, Megan, he said, extending his hand. Maureen shook his hand and gave a small smile. The pleasure is mine, she replied calmly. As the night went on, JJ couldn't stop thinking about Maureen. Her beauty, poise, and charm left him mesmerized. Later, Maureen approached JJ and said, I heard about your company. It's impressive. I'd love to work with someone as brilliant as you. JJ's ego swelled. You want to work for me? He asked, surprised. Yes, Maureen replied with a soft smile. I'd love to be your personal assistant. JJ hesitated for a moment. He wanted to appear important to Bobby, and hiring Bobby's sister seemed like a good move. Consider it done, JJ said, smiling. Maureen smirked inwardly. The stage was set. She was determined to make JJ pay for all the pain he had caused her. Maureen joined JJ's company as his personal assistant. She was efficient, polite, and seemed genuinely caring. She brought JJ coffee every morning, helped organize his schedule, and even stayed late to help him with work. "Megan, you're amazing," JJ told her one evening. "I don't know how I manage without you. Just doing my job," Maureen said with a soft smile, but inside, she was playing her part perfectly. Tina, JJ's wife, began to notice how much time JJ spent with Maureen. She didn't like it. "Why does she have to stay so late?" Tina asked one night. "She's helping me with work," JJ replied, annoyed. "She's more supportive than you are." Tina's face turned red with anger, but she said nothing. Maureen made it a point to be kind to JJ in ways Tina never was. "JJ, you look stressed. Have you eaten?" Maureen asked one afternoon, placing a plate of food on his desk. JJ smiled. "You're always so thoughtful, Megan." Tina, who happened to walk into the office at that moment, glared at the scene. "What is this? She's feeding you now?" Tina snapped. JJ rolled his eyes. "Tina, not everything is about you. Megan is just being nice. You're spending too much time with her." Tina shouted. "Maybe if you were as caring as she is, we wouldn't be arguing all the time." JJ shot back. Tina stormed out of the office, fuming. The fights between JJ and Tina grew worse every day. "You don't even notice me anymore," Tina yelled one night at home. "Because all you do is complain, Tina." JJ snapped. "Megan makes me feel appreciated." "Megan, Megan, Megan, is that all you care about now?" Tina screamed. "Maybe it is," JJ said coldly. Tina was furious, but she could see the change in JJ. He was slipping away from her, and Maureen was the reason. JJ found himself thinking about Maureen more and more. Her kindness, her beauty, her smile, everything about her made him feel alive. One evening, he couldn't hold back any longer. "Megan," he said softly as she was packing up for the day. "Yes, JJ," she replied, looking up at him. "I don't know what I'd do without you," he said, stepping closer. "You've changed my life." Maureen gave him a shy smile. "I'm just happy to help." JJ reached for her hand. "It's more than that. You're special, Maureen." Maureen pulled her hand away gently. "JJ, you're married. I don't want to cause problems." "Don't worry about Tina," JJ said firmly. "She doesn't understand me the way you do." Maureen pretended to hesitate, but she knew her plan was working perfectly. JJ was falling for her, just as she had intended. Meanwhile, whenever Maureen was with Bobby, she remained herself. Bobby had started noticing something was off. "Maureen," Bobby said one evening when they were having dinner, "you've been spending a lot of time with JJ. Are you sure this is still about revenge?" Maureen smiled lightly. "Bobby, I know what I'm doing. Trust me." But Bobby didn't feel reassured. He realized he was starting to feel something deeper for Maureen. The thought of her spending so much time with JJ made him uneasy. At the office, Maureen continued her act. She brought him lunch, worked late with him, and always greeted him with a warm smile. JJ couldn't hide his growing feelings for Megan. He started avoiding Tina at home, choosing to stay longer at the office just to be around Megan. One evening, JJ even canceled dinner plans with Tina to stay at work with Megan. Tina showed up at the office, furious. "JJ, what is this? You're canceling plans with me to stay with her?" Tina shouted. "Her name is Megan," JJ said, annoyed. "I don't care what her name is," Tina yelled. "She's ruining our marriage." JJ rolled his eyes. "Maybe our marriage is already ruined because of you. Tina, Megan is more supportive than you'll ever be." Tina stormed out of the office, slamming the door behind her. Back at Bobby's mansion, Maureen was unwinding after another day of her charade. Bobby joined her in the living room, watching her quietly. "You seem so calm about everything," Bobby said. "Doesn't it bother you being around that man after everything he did to you?" Maureen sighed. "It's not easy, Bobby. But I'm not the same person I was before. I have control now." Bobby hesitated before speaking. "What if you're playing with fire? What if he hurts you again?" Maureen reached out and held Bobby's hand. "He can't hurt me anymore, Bobby. I promise." Though her words reassured him, Bobby couldn't help feeling jealous. He wanted to be the one Maureen turned to, not just for support, but for love. JJ's company had been struggling, but hope came when his manager brought in a huge business deal. It was a contract worth millions, and closing it would save the company from financial ruin. JJ worked tirelessly on it, his mind consumed by the potential success. However, Maureen saw an opportunity. She knew this deal was critical for JJ's reputation and company, and she planned to use it to bring him down. The perfect chance came when Tina showed up at JJ's office once again, yelling and causing a scene. "Why is this Megan woman still here?" Tina screamed. "You care more about her than your own wife." "Tina, not now," JJ said, exasperated. As the fight escalated, Maureen, who was standing at a corner in the room, waited for the perfect moment and slipped the important contract into Tina's handbag without anyone noticing. Then she quietly walked out, a satisfied smile on her face. The next morning, news broke that the details of JJ's big deal had been leaked. The investors were furious, accusing him of being careless and unprofessional. The deal fell through, and JJ was left scrambling to control the damage. Who could have done this? JJ asked in frustration during a meeting with his team. Maureen sat quietly, pretending to look concerned. "Maybe someone got their hands on the contract," she suggested innocently. The investors began withdrawing their support, leaving JJ under immense pressure. Late that night, JJ sat alone in his office, his head in his hands. Maureen entered with a tray of coffee and JJ's favorite snacks. "JJ, you shouldn't be so hard on yourself," she said softly, placing the tray on his desk. JJ looked up at her, his eyes tired. "I don't know what I'd do without you, Megan. You're the only one who understands me." Maureen smiled gently and sat down beside him. "You'll get through this. I believe in you." JJ reached out and took her hand. "You're amazing, Megan. I don't think I've ever met anyone like you." As their eyes met, JJ leaned closer. "You make me feel alive," he whispered, leaning in to kiss her. Maureen turned her head at the last moment, pulling away. "JJ, I can't." "Why not?" JJ asked, confused. "You're married," Maureen replied softly. JJ's face hardened. "Tina doesn't deserve me. She's toxic and jealous. I'll divorce her if that's what it takes." Maureen looked at him with a mix of pity and satisfaction. "You should think carefully about what you're saying," she said, her voice calm. But deep inside, she knew her plan was working perfectly. JJ was falling into her trap, and she was one step closer to her ultimate revenge. But deep inside, she knew her plan was working perfectly. JJ was falling into her trap, and she was one step closer to her ultimate revenge. JJ stormed home that evening, his face dark with rage. Tina, unaware of the event, was in the living room watching TV when he burst in. "Tina," he shouted, "how could you do this to me?" Tina sat up, startled. "Do what, JJ? What are you talking about?" "Don't play innocent with me," JJ roared. "The contract for the biggest deal of my life was in your bag. You leaked it and ruined everything." Tina's jaw dropped. "What? That's ridiculous. I didn't even know about your contract." JJ didn't believe her. He began searching through her things furiously. Tina protested, but JJ ignored her. Finally, he found the contract buried deep in her handbag. Tina's face turned pale. "I swear I didn't put that there, JJ. Someone is framing me." "Save it, Tina," JJ said coldly. "You've always been jealous of Megan, and now you're trying to sabotage me." Tina's hands shook with anger and confusion. "This doesn't make sense, JJ. I didn't do it, but I'll find out who did." Tina knew something was wrong. Maureen Megan, as JJ called her as too perfect. She decided to hire a private investigator to dig into Maureen's background. The detective was thorough and quick. He discovered that Bobby's family was one of the most well-known in the country. It didn't take long to find out that Bobby was an only child and didn't have a sister. When Tina received the report, she was both angry and smug. "So, Megan isn't who she says she is," she muttered. "Let's see how this plays out." The next day, Tina stormed into JJ's office while Maureen was present. She leaned close to Maureen and whispered, "I know who you really are, and if you don't leave this office, I'll tell JJ the truth about you." Maureen, unfazed, looked Tina directly in the eyes. "Do whatever you want, Tina. It won't change anything." Tina stormed out, furious that her threat hadn't worked. The following morning, Maureen decided to strike first. She went to JJ's office and sat down across from him. "JJ, there's something I need to tell you," she began, her voice calm but firm. "What is it, Megan?" JJ asked, concerned. "I'm not really Bobby's sister," Maureen said. JJ's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" "I'm his half-sister," Maureen explained. "We share the same father but have different mothers. I didn't want to tell you before because it's complicated, and I didn't think it mattered." JJ leaned back in his chair, processing the information. After a moment, he shrugged. "It doesn't matter, Megan. You're still part of Bobby's family, and that's what's important." Maureen smiled faintly, hiding her relief. Later that day, Tina stormed into JJ's office again, ready to expose Maureen. "JJ, Megan isn't who she says she is. She's not even related to Bobby." JJ looked at her calmly and said, "Tina, I already know. She's Bobby's half-sister. It's the same thing. We're still connected to the same family." Tina's face turned red with frustration. "You're blind, JJ. She's playing you, and you're too stupid to see it." "Enough, Tina," JJ snapped. "I'm tired of your jealousy and drama. Megan is the only person I trust right now." Tina stormed out, furious and defeated. JJ's mother, Mrs. Chukwuma, had always supported Tina. She believed a wife should be respected and treated well. But recently, she noticed the tension between her son and his wife. She decided to confront JJ about it. One evening, she visited his office. As soon as she walked in, she saw Megan sitting by JJ's side, handing him files and laughing at his jokes. "JJ," his mother said sharply, "we need to talk. Now." JJ stood up, surprised. "Mom, what's wrong?" She gestured to Maureen. "Who is this woman, and why does she seem more important to you than your wife?" JJ sighed. "Mom, this is Megan. She's my personal assistant." Mrs. Chukwuma narrowed her eyes. "Personal assistant? I've been hearing rumors about how much time you spend with her. What's going on here?" JJ hesitated but decided to share part of the truth. "Megan is Bobby Adebayo's sister." "Mom, you know Bobby, one of the wealthiest businessmen in the country. Megan is part of their family." Mrs. Chukwuma's expression softened. "Bobby Adebayo's sister?" "Half-sister," JJ corrected. "She's been incredibly supportive, unlike Tina." Hearing this, Mrs. Chukwuma's tone changed. Her respect for Bobby and his family made her reconsider her initial hostility. Mrs. Chukwuma smiled warmly at Maureen. "Megan, it's nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about Bobby Adebayo. He's quite an impressive man." Maureen gave a polite smile. "Thank you, ma'am. Bobby speaks highly of you too." Mrs. Chukwuma turned to JJ. "I'd like to invite Megan and her brother to dinner. It's time our families get to know each other better." JJ nodded, pleased with his mother's sudden approval. Maureen pretended to be flattered. "That's very kind of you, ma'am. I'll let Bobby know." On the evening of the dinner, before heading to the dinner at Jay's mother's house, Maureen and Bobby had a plan. "She's going to bite the bait," Bobby said confidently. "Women like her can't resist a golden opportunity, especially when it sounds like easy money." Maureen smirked, her expression cold as she thought about Jay's mother. The memory of how the older woman had treated her during her marriage still stung. "She treated me like trash, Bobby," Maureen said, her voice low but filled with determination. "She made me feel like I was worthless, like I wasn't good enough to be her son's wife because of my weight. All she cared about was money and appearances." "Well," Bobby replied, a glint of amusement in his eyes, "it's time she learns what it feels like to lose everything she values." "What's the plan?" Maureen took a deep breath, her mind sharp and calculating. "We know she's greedy. She always wanted to be associated with the elite and was obsessed with business investments. Jay follows her lead blindly. So if we target her, we'll get to him too. Tonight, when she inevitably asks about your latest investment, you'll tell her about a fake digital coin. Make it sound exclusive, high stakes, and profitable. Bobby nodded, impressed. I'll tell her I invested 5 billion naira in it and that it's already yielding huge returns. She won't be able to resist. Exactly, Maureen said, her eyes narrowing. And the coin itself? Bobby asked. It's fake, Maureen said with a small, victorious smile. I created the facade online dummy websites, fake investors, everything. By the time they invest heavily, the coin will crash, and they'll lose it all. Every naira. Bobby laughed, shaking his head. You're brilliant, Maureen. Ruthless, but brilliant. Are you sure you're okay with this? Maureen paused, her expression softening briefly. I've thought about it. Bobby, this isn't just about revenge. It's about justice. They took everything from me. My dignity, my father's company, my home. I'm not doing this out of spite. I'm doing it to show them that they can trample over people and get away with it. Bobby reached out and placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. I'm with you every step of the way. Let's do this. Maureen and Bobby arrived at the Chukwuma mansion. Bobby, being his charming and confident self, greeted everyone warmly. Mrs. Chukwuma, it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Bobby said, shaking her hand. The pleasure is mine, Bobby, she replied, smiling. As the dinner progressed, Mrs. Chukwuma's curiosity grew. She turned to Bobby and asked, So Bobby, I hear you've been making waves in the business world. What's your latest investment? Maureen exchanged a quick glance with Bobby, a silent agreement between them. This was part of the plan. Bobby smiled and leaned back in his chair, pretending to deliberate for a moment. Well, Mrs. Chukwuma, Bobby began. You know how everything is going digital these days. I've recently invested in something big. A digital coin launched a few weeks ago. JJ raised an eyebrow. A digital coin? He repeated, intrigued. Yes. Bobby nodded. It's a new cryptocurrency that's been gaining a lot of traction. I've put in 5 billion naira already. The returns have been staggering. Mrs. Chukwuma's eyes widened with interest. 5 billion? She repeated. That's a lot of money. Bobby leaned forward, his tone casual yet persuasive. It's a risky venture, but it's paying off. The value of the coin has been growing exponentially. In fact, I've already seen a 200% return on my investment. If you're looking for a way to secure your future, this is the one. Maureen, her smile barely contained, watched as JJ and his mother absorbed this information. It was exactly what they needed to hear. Mrs. Chukwuma's voice softened. Well, Bobby, you've certainly piqued my interest. It seems like a brilliant opportunity. JJ looked over at his mother, his eyes glinting with determination. He could feel the weight of his company's struggles, and the thought of such an easy opportunity to recover his losses was too tempting. Let's do it, Mom, JJ said. Let's invest in this coin. We need to act fast. Bobby gave a knowing smile. You won't regret it, JJ. I'll make sure you get the details. Later that evening, after they had all left the Chukwuma mansion, JJ and his mother couldn't stop thinking about the digital coin. In the quiet of his office, JJ pulled up the information on the coin, scanning the reports and charts. The numbers seemed almost too good to be true, but Bobby's words echoed in his mind. This is a quick way to get back on top, JJ said to his mother. We have to move fast. If we don't, we'll miss out. Mrs. Chukwuma nodded, her face filled with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. You're right, JJ. Let's invest all of it. They both agreed to put 10 million naira into the digital coin, just to start. As they made the transaction, they felt a rush of hope. The coin's value had already soared beyond expectations, and it seemed like the perfect escape from their financial troubles. The next morning, JJ and his mother woke up to find that their investment had already doubled by 200%. The excitement in JJ's eyes was undeniable. This is it, Mom, JJ said with a grin. This is how we turn things around. Feeling confident, JJ didn't stop there. He made the decision to invest all of his savings and his company's funds into the digital coin, seeing it as a quick and easy way to regain his losses. His mother followed suit, confident that this was the way forward. Over the next few days, JJ and his mother monitored their investment closely. The value of the coin continued to rise, and with each passing hour, their excitement grew. JJ felt a new sense of hope, a way to erase the embarrassment of the failed contract and the disastrous business deals. But Maureen, watching from the sidelines, knew exactly how this would play out. She had set the trap, and now she was waiting for it to spring. Once JJ and his mother were fully invested, there would be no turning back. The digital coin was about to crash, and when it did, their world would crumble with it. Only a matter of time before JJ and his mother were left with nothing. JJ had planned a small celebration to mark his recent success with the digital coin, inviting only a select group of people. Among those invited were Maureen and her brother Bobby, both of whom had played a crucial role in his rise, though JJ was blissfully unaware of the trap they had set. Tina, who had not received an invitation, was livid when she found out. Her jealousy flared, and she made her way to the banquet, determined to confront JJ. When Tina stormed into the event, her eyes blazing with anger, all eyes turned to her. She stood at the entrance, glaring at Maureen and Bobby with disdain. "Why wasn't I invited?" Tina demanded, her voice harsh. "What is this nonsense?" Before JJ could respond, Jay's mother, who had been watching the scene unfold, rose from her seat, her expression stern. "You are embarrassing yourself, Tina," JJ's mother said coldly. "This celebration isn't for you. You've already caused enough trouble." Tina, furious, reached for her wedding ring, but JJ's mother snatched it from her finger and handed it to Maureen. "This wedding ring belongs to Maureen now," Jay's mother said firmly. "She's the one who truly belongs with JJ." Tina's heart dropped. Her face turned bright red with rage. "What?" she shouted, her voice rising. She turned to JJ. "If you think you can get rid of me so easily like your ex-wife, then you are mistaken. Nobody, I repeat, nobody messes with Tina and get away with it." Then, Maureen stepped forward. Her smile faded, and a cold, calculated look took its place. "Yes, Tina, you deserve every maltreatment you got today," Maureen said slowly. "You remember exactly 12 months ago, how you snatched your best friend's husband and helped him humiliate her in this same room?" The room fell silent, and Tina's face contorted in confusion. What do you mean?" she stammered, her voice trembling with disbelief. "Where did you get those fake gossip?" JJ asked in disbelief. Maureen stood up straight, her gaze fixed firmly on JJ. "You didn't recognize me, did you? I am Maureen, your ex-wife, the woman you treated like trash, the woman you abandoned when you found someone more suitable for your plans. But now you see me again, don't you?" Tina's eyes went wide with realization. The room was buzzing with confusion. "No way," JJ whispered, as he stood there, speechless. Before he could react, JJ's manager burst into the room, looking panicked. Jay, the manager exclaimed. "The coin, it's crashed. The investment, it's worthless now. Everything is gone. We've lost it all." A wave of horror washed over the room as the gravity of the situation hit JJ like a punch to the gut. The news made everything feel surreal. His only hope for recovery had evaporated in an instant. Mrs. Chukwuma, standing in the background, suddenly collapsed. She grabbed her chest, her face turning pale, and fell to the floor with a loud thud. "Mother!" JJ screamed, rushing to her side. His entire world seemed to crumble around him as he cradled his mother in his arms, tears flooding his eyes. "No, please, Mom, don't leave me." But it was too late. The stress of losing everything had taken a toll on her heart. Mrs. Chukwuma had suffered a heart attack, and she lay unconscious in her son's arms. Tina, standing by the door, saw an opportunity. She walked over to JJ with cold fury in her eyes. "You really are a scumbag, JJ," Tina spat, her voice full of venom. "You treated me like garbage, but look where it got you. You've lost everything. Your mother, your company, your dignity, and now you've lost me too. You're a joke, JJ. I'm done. I want nothing more to do with you." JJ, stunned, barely heard her words. His eyes remained glued to his mother, who was being carried away. His heart felt heavy with guilt and loss. Tina's voice barely registered as he sank into a chair, his tears mixing with the shock of losing everything. He was now penniless, with no company, no family, and no future. The world he had built with lies had crumbled before him. As the chaos unfolded, Maureen stood silently, watching Jay crumble under the weight of his actions. The once proud man, who had humiliated her and destroyed her life, was now reduced to a broken shell. Bobby walked up beside Maureen, his expression calm but his eyes full of satisfaction. "It's over," he whispered to her. He got exactly what he deserved. Maureen nodded, her lips curling into a faint smile. She glanced at JJ, who was sitting in a chair with his head in his hands, tears streaming down his face. His mother had been rushed to the hospital, Tina was gone, and the investors who had trusted him were likely on their way to demand answers. JJ looked up at Maureen, his eyes filled with a mixture of anger and desperation. "You planned this, didn't you?" he accused, his voice trembling. "You did this to me." Maureen stepped closer, her heels clicking against the marble floor. She leaned down slightly, meeting his gaze with a calm, icy stare. "Did I?" she asked, her voice soft yet piercing. "Or did you do this to yourself, Jay? You betrayed me. You humiliated me. You used me, thinking I was nothing. But guess what? I'm not the same Maureen you threw away. I'm stronger, smarter. And now, I have the last laugh." JJ clenched his fists, his face twisted in frustration. "You're heartless," he muttered. Maureen chuckled, a low, bitter laugh that echoed in the room. "Heartless? No, Jay, I just learned not to trust snakes like you. Everything you did to me came back to bite you. That's called karma." She turned to leave, but stopped midway and looked over her shoulder. "Oh, and about your little coin investment. You should have done your homework. It was fake, just like your promises, your love, and your loyalty." JJ's jaw dropped as the realization hit him. The coin, the trap, it was all a setup, carefully orchestrated by Maureen and Bobby. He had been so blinded by greed and desperation that he hadn't seen it coming. Outside the venue, Maureen and Bobby got into his sleek black car. As they drove away, Maureen turned to Bobby. "You wanted to tell me something the other day?" she asked, looking straight into Bobby's eyes. "Yes, Maureen. I love you," Bobby said, looking deep into Maureen's eyes. "I love you too," Maureen replied, locking her lips in Bobby's as they kissed passionately.
If you enjoyed this story, I'm certain you'll enjoy the next one showing on your screen right now. Please click on the thumbnail to watch the next story. I'd appreciate your support. Like this video, share it with your family and friends, and subscribe to my channel. See you in my next story. Bye.